thanks a lot to the young audience here who gave me some peep into their thoughts actually. You know what I tried to do was when I was crafting these decks, these slides, I asked myself the same question that was just asked to you, that why do we go yuck at the thought of the poop? And I thought, what would be the words that would be coming to your mind? As we go to the next slide, you would see that I thought that you may think that poop is gross, it's yucky, unhygienic, repulsive, as you said, disgusting. You were worried. That's something I didn't think of, because all of these words are actually making you worry about poop, right? So that's interesting to know that the entire spectrum of thoughts that go into your mind, and it indeed is perhaps right that you are worried about poop, and poop is probably a vulnerable social setting as well. Why is it so? If we go to the next slide, and you will find out, poop is actually dirty, it's stinky, it's icky. And why is it so? If we go into the very basic of the existence of poop, then it is just a waste product. Whatever we eat eventually comes out of our body as a waste product, basically. So poop is mostly made of waste. And as we keep the waste, as you see in the bins on the left side, as we usually keep all the waste out of our homes, our body also tries to keep this waste, this entire collection of waste, which we usually call as poop, out of our body as well. So it has to be a topic of worry. It has to be something which we should be disgusted about in a traditional setting. After all, it has a lot of toxins, a lot of bacteria or pathogens, a lot of metabolic waste, indigestible matter, something which our body cannot digest, so it passes it out, which includes plastics, metals. Everything that you can worry about, yes, it is there in the poop. And then when it comes out, many a times you see pests, flies, and a lot of other worrisome matter around it. So yes, poop is indeed dirty, and poop is something we should be always worried about. But then why we are talking about poop today? If it is such a mess, if it is so disgusting, then why are we giving it so importance today? Because poop has some thoughts, uh, and poop wants to say that it is not that bad. But before we try to, appreciate poop, we should keep in our minds there are some do's and don'ts about poop which you should always keep in mind. And let's see that on the next slide. So the don'ts are, don't touch your or anybody's poop. I know you are smart enough, you will never do it. But yes, I'll have to highlight it, because just in case your thoughts start changing by the end of the presentation, still this rule should be there: never touch your poop or anybody else's poop unless you have become a scientist to handle the poop in a way that it is safe enough. But till then, please don't. And the do's are: wash your hands thoroughly, just in case by mistake you happen to touch your or anybody else's poop. After all, it has been, as we discussed, a very dirty affair. So let's keep it aside and we make sure our hands are well washed. Don't defecate in open. Never pass your poop out in open areas, because as it is a wasteful product, it has a lot of pathogens. It can actually pass those worrisome products to the other people or other living organisms who are living around you. So as a responsible person, never defecate in open. And use a toilet, bury any open poop in deep soil. That will make sure the environment is hygienic. And certainly don't eat it. You would be wondering, what are you saying? Why would I eat poop? Why? Again, as I said, I am going to say a lot of good things about poop as we go forward. But no matter how good you feel about poop, you shouldn't eat it unless at some point in future a doctor recommends a poop pill to you. Yes, poop in a pill does come, but it is something which is useful only in a serious medical situation. But you might be getting some idea about poop probably has something good, that it is getting converted into a pill for giving it as a medication to somebody. But yes, regardless, never eat poop on your own, ever. Eat good food rather, consult a doctor, but should be eaten so that your poop becomes too good that you never have to have any medicine. And that's what we are going to focus a lot going forward. So till now, we focused a lot on poop being dirty, poop being bad. But poop says that it is not that bad after all, as we see in the next slide. Poop is saying, hey, I'm not that bad. You are making me a villain. But if you look into just my solid matter, so poop is a lot water, a lot of solids. And if you look into the poop's solid matter, half of it, almost half of it is made of microbes, little teeny creatures that you probably cannot see with your eyes. But there are a lot of microbes, so many that they actually equate to approximately to a galaxy. Our Milky Way galaxy has 300 billion stars. And if we look into 1 gram of poop, what is 1 gram? See, I just weighed today this pen. This pen is 7 grams. And this cap of pen on the behind of it is just 1 gram. So imagine this little amount of poop can have 100 billion microbes. And a billion has 9 zeros behind it. 1 followed by 9 zeros. There's such a large number of microbes. There are 100 billion microbes in just 1 gram of poop. And probably as the girl is thinking on the bottom left, is 1 gram of poop like a galaxy? Because if a galaxy has 300 billion stars, then 1 gram of poop is certainly like a miniature galaxy in our body. So, poop certainly seems to have a lot inside. Now, is something coming to your mind that if there are so many microbes in the poop and they are probably coming out of our own body, are we infected? Shreya, if you go to the next slide, I think I'm just trying to read the minds of the young ones here. And probably somebody is raising their hands. So, or Sunil, are the microbes actually infecting us? Because we know by general sense that microbes are germs, and germs are usually bad. And even Dr. Hawley in the last session told you that germs are the microbes that cause infection or that cause us diseases. So if there are so many microbes in us, in our poop, so are we infected? So may I take a pause here? Do you think that we are infected because our poop has billions of microbes?
That's a great time and place to pause. Sunil, you read my mind because I said we will stop shortly for questions type here. So what do our young minds think? Abhay, Devshri, Jia, Kavish, Lakshmi, Sahan, Sanjana. Poop has germs. Sunil has just mentioned it's a galaxy of billions of microbes. But does that mean we are infected because our poop has germs? So maybe say yay or nay. How many of you think we are infected because our poop has germs? How many of you think there is and billions of them, exactly. How many of you think that there must be some other purpose why our poop has germs? So Sahan says no, Abhay says no, Jia says no, we aren't infected. Kavish says we are always infected, but it is not always bad. So you can see that they are giving nuanced arguments, Sunil. And absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Abhay, Jia, Kavish, Sahan. Please, anyone else type. So Sunil, I think the consensus is they agree that we are not infected. They agree that it's not always bad. But I think maybe one thing you would like to understand is then what is the role of these germs in our poop? Where do they come from? Why are they there? And why can't poop be sterile? So over to you. We can go into the next segment.
Sure.
And by the way, this is going really well. Your pace is wonderful. And the delivery, content, everything is absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
It seems like you have done 120. It seems like you've done 120 sessions, not us. All right. Okay.
You're just being generous, but thank you. I hope the young audience is finding it interesting, and I'll try to make it useful by the end of the session as well. So, we did think about probably our body is infected, that there are billions of microbes in our poop. But the fact is there are actually billions of microbes, but not all of them are germs. Germs are those microbes which are going to harm your body, which are going to cause some disease. But while all germs are microbes, not all microbes are germs, basically. The balance is between the good bacteria or the good microbes and the bad microbes. So this balance is what ensures that we never get, or we do not usually get infected. And as a matter of fact, as you see on the bottom left, this is a balance which is more skewed towards good microbes. Our body has a lot of good microbes. 85% of microbes in a usual setting, when a person is healthy, 85% of the microbes are actually good in our body. And it is those 15%, or if you have 100 candies with you, out of those 100 candies, only 15 candies are bad with you. So 85 of them are actually good. And these good microbes are what making poop good as well, in some form, which we'll discuss. So, there is a constant fight going on between good microbes and bad microbes in your body. This one microbe in the white that you see is trying to hit another microbe is actually a good microbe who is trying to protect you. And how it is trying to protect you is something we will discuss. But I hope this answers to you that we are actually not infected. We are actually harboring very good little friends inside us who are actually trying to protect us all the time. And most of them do come out of our poop as well. And we probably can actually look into our poop and determine that how healthy we are in a very long setting. That is also possible. That's what I actually do in my profession. So, and let's go to the next slide now to understand. Sure. Yeah. That what are these good and bad microbes that we are talking about? Certainly, our poop is good because our poop is trying to keep us healthy because there are a lot of good microbes in it. And these microbes are actually, these good microbes are trying to block the germs and also opportunistic pathogens. Now, what is this term opportunistic pathogens? If you go to the next slide, I'll give you a good analogy. Heard about thieves? Thieves actually try to come to your house at night. They try to look for that opportunity when you are not in a very good shape to defend your house. You are probably sleeping, you're probably not having best of your defenses, and that thief will try to attack your house, rob you at that time. Similarly, the opportunistic pathogens are of that nature. They are among those 15% of microbes which are in your body which are actually bad, but they are trying to stay there, looking for that window of opportunity when your defense gets weaker. Maybe you had a bad food, maybe you went into a bad weather, maybe you had something that really disrupted your internal system that made your defense weaker, because the good microbes were also affected by that bad diet or bad medicine or something that is not supposed to go into your system. When when such a change happens into your defense, opportunistic microbes start taking over and make you sick. So the opportunistic microbes are the opportunistic pathogens. I hope this is pretty clear. So they are like those thieves who will be around your house but will attack only when you have your system weaker. But at the same time, we should also understand another type of microbe, which is on the next slide, commensals, basically. If I am sure many of you would be interested in watching Discovery Channel, Nat Geo, and would be watching certain large fishes inside the sea. Along with them, there are teeny fishes swimming along with them. Those teeny fishes are not really helping that large fish, but they are getting the food, whatever the large fish eats. The smaller fish just eats a part of it, sustains itself, doesn't harm or doesn't benefit the large fish. Those small fish are opportunistic organisms, including microbes, who sustain themselves using host is say our body. Whosoever harbors somebody is a host. So when the microbes actually just sustain themselves eating certain food from us without harming us, without giving us any benefit, they are the commensals. We have a lot of them. At least this is what we think. Do you think that one of the whatever we know today is the ultimate knowledge. We know everything. Do you think we know everything? The reason I am asking this question is we think that there are a lot of commensals in our body who do not really benefit us. The fact is, we actually do not know whether they are all commensals, but we know they do not harm us. So till the time we know what are their benefits, they are commensals for us, basically. So we, as Kavish rightly said, never. That's the fact. We probably should hope that some of these commensals may turn out to be our friends in the longer future, but till that, we should be surprised that there are so many of them. But we should be happy that they are not harming us. So those are commensals. Now let's go to the next slide now. So
Sunil,
should
maybe
I
we
take
just
that?
stop. Yes, I think it's another nice place to stop for questions because we have questions. Kavish said, so Kavish asked, like we talked that there are good microbes and bad microbes, but Kavish mentions that are there neutral microbes as well? Are those the commensals that are neither good nor bad?
Yes, till the time we do not know what are their benefits,
Functions.
we
Yeah.
call them commensals. They are
Okay.
commensals because they are neither good to us nor bad to us. Good is somebody who is
Fantastic.
trying to benefit us, maybe produce vitamins in our body, give us some good nutrients which we cannot produce. So they are good for us because they are extracting food from us but also giving us back. So they are good. But if they are not, if we do not know who are good and who are bad, and whether they are actually leading to any damage to our body, then they are commensals for us. If they are living nicely in our body, yes, the
Yes.
neutral ones are till the time we know what are their benefits or what are their harms are commensals.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sunil. Lots of questions coming in. Abhay asks a question. How does the body not know of the pathogens before they make the body weak? So what comes first? The pathogens make the body weak. That's one paradigm we know. Or the weak body is susceptible to pathogens. So what is the chicken and the egg here?
This is something even I won't be able to answer very concretely. We call it the cause or consequence paradox, basically. Is a disease caused by those bad ones, or the bad ones are actually the consequence of the disease that has happened to us? So this is a paradox which I'm actually surprised has come to your mind at this age as well, and I'm really happy about it. But yes, this paradox is an open question. We do have certain cases where when we take bad diet, that influences our good microbes in a way that bad microbes take over. So that is a consequence, basically, right? And
Yes,
we also
yes.
have such cases where certain bacteria cause diarrhea. They weaken our system so much that more bad things happen to our body. So that is a cause as well. So we have both the cases known, but there are many cases in which we are actually not aware whether this is a cause or a consequence that bad things happening in our body, basically.
So again, this is the
So
whole
I hope.
area of research. Like people like you
Yes.
who study gut microbiome are working on.
Yes.
Fantastic. Kavish asks, Sunil, can you give a few examples of opportunistic microbes and commensal microbes? Can you give us some examples? Um,
Yeah. So I don't know whether the names will sound familiar. So
exactly. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
are organisms like Bacteroides fragilis. I will give you
Hmm.
its significance or why is it also known to have a bad influence. When it reaches your gut lining, so gut lining is your wall of the gut. It whenever it reaches there, it actually degrades that wall. It breaks that wall, and
Hmm.
then a lot of bad things happen. But it cannot by default just keep outgrowing unless it has some weakened system. So when your body is weak, it reaches your gut lining, and then the gut wall is broken, and then it takes over that entire system. That's when it is able to cause a lot of disease in your system.
Okay.
Similarly, even there are cases of E. coli, very common microbe, who by default in many of its strains are commensals as well, but
Hmm.
then many of them become opportunistic pathogen when the system is actually not very strong. So
Okay.
there are many microbes of this nature who are actually opportunistic, and at the same time, many a times they seem to be commensal. Yeah.
So what you're saying is it can be sort of a more graded, it's not so binary, commensals can become opportunistic, for example, depending on the human body situation.
So for a good amount of time in the history, we wouldn't know that these were opportunistic pathogens until we observed certain cases of disease being caused by those microbes which we were thinking were commensals. And
Exactly.
that's why we came to that paradox that probably till the time we know they are bad, we will call them commensals. Till the time we know they are good, we will still call them commensals, basically.
So, Sunil, to give a Hindi movie phrase, dost na raha, when we find out that they can cause infections. All right.
Yes.
Okay. We can publish a whole Bollywood
Good
paradigm of the gut microbiome, Sunil. It's a review paper suggestion. Let me know. Okay. And Gia has a very nice question. Is Clostridium tetani a pathogen?
Yes, it is. But again, it has to outgrow, basically.
Yes.
There are times when I'm getting your thoughts why you are actually picking up this line of thought. So even for an infective pathogen to cause disease, your system has to be weakened enough to outsurpass the entire attack of your immune system, outsurpass the entire attack of your good microbes. So when we say opportunistic pathogens, we mean that they are actually living nicely in your body. They are growing along with your good microbes, but then they find that opportunity to attack, as opposed to say Clostridium tetani, who would by default not live in your body, but when it enters your body, say through a bloodstream, when you get some injury, but your immune system is not strong enough to out attack it, then it will cause you infection, basically.
Possible.
So while that pathogen, that microbe is a pathogen, but it doesn't usually live in your body, basically. So I may not categorize it as an opportunistic pathogen as such. But yes, every microbe, even if it is pathogenic, needs your system to be weak. That's why we focus so much on staying fit, or focusing on making sure you eat good. Your parents try to make sure you eat good, because if your system is stronger, no pathogen can harm you, actually. Yeah.
That's the plan. Then Sunil Devshri asks, sir, some bacteria produce nitrous oxide. Yes. That's correct, Devshri. Some can. Gia asks, what are the pigments that give color to poop? So the poop color is not microbial really. It's more our liver pigments, right, that are produced in the liver. So
it is related to your blood, actually.
Yeah.
So your blood pigments, they get metabolized in liver to form those pigments or those colors that you see, basically. So there's a path from your blood cells, dead blood cells, being metabolized in your liver, and from liver, that pigment or bilirubin coming into your poops matter, and that's how you see that typical color. Yes. So
Wonderful.
But yes, it is not primarily a color of a color contributed by your microbes. Yeah.
It's not. That's one thing we can't blame the microbes for.
Yeah, but your diet can.
Yes, true. Sunil, just look at the depth of the questions. But what we'll do is we'll proceed a little, and Kavish will stop for your questions after that. Sounds good. Let's proceed. Sounds good.
Yes. So, again, I tried to read your minds, and trust me, I'm failing a lot till now. Your questions are like awesome, and I just captured a very small spectrum of your thoughts, and I thought maybe you will be wondering, why are there billions of microbes in our poop, basically? So this is one question I thought maybe you would ask, but I apologize. There are so many good questions that you already asked, and I never thought about it. And I'm really amazed positively, basically. So, and at the same time, I thought maybe you will ask me, how do these good microbes keep us healthy? So these are the two questions only I thought about, and I'll try to answer, but I am open to every other question that you'll be asking. So let's try to answer these two questions. I hope you find these interesting. Do you find these interesting, by the way, these two questions? A simple yes or no. Probably
Yes,
yes,
we.
right?
Why are there
Okay.
billions of microbes? And yes, and how do
Yeah,
these good microbes keep us healthy? Okay, sounds good.
healthy.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay then. So going forward, let's see. So have you been to your house? Your house, you always are in your house as well. So your house has a lot of rooms, right? Similarly, if you look at your digestive system, it has different parts, like different rooms. There's an upper gut, there's a lower gut, and then there's a part where the poop collects. If you see into the image, there's an arrow which says poop is collected here. So I just broadly divided it into upper and lower gut and a part where your poop gets stored. So why are we giving an analogy of your house here? Certainly there are, as your house has many rooms, your gut has some spaces, or your digestive system has certain spaces. But as we see on the next slide, just like you like certain spaces in your house or even in your school, do you have some favorite spaces? That is the place I want to go. It has so many toys, or it has in your house there's a kitchen, there's ice cream there. Probably I love to be in my kitchen a lot. So there are certain good spaces in your house that you prefer, in your school that you prefer, maybe the playground. Similarly, in your body there are certain spaces which are actually liked by your microbes, and those spaces are typically those in which there is less oxygen. So the microbes who prefer to have lesser oxygen or no oxygen at all in the environment, they are called anaerobes, anaerobic microorganisms. So most of your digestive system associated microbes who are good to you are actually anaerobic. They prefer an environment without oxygen. So any space in your body where there's less oxygen, which has a lot of food to serve those microbes, they are not acidic. As anything acidic really irks them. So which is not acidic, and they are easy to make a house on. So they like that a lot. By this definition, it seems like everybody in the world, except for the oxygen, because we love oxygen, everybody would like such a place where there's a lot of food, there's less acid around, and there's a simple space to make a house on. So microbes are also those kind of living organisms who have simple requirements in their life. They just want good food, good space, and less acid around, and obviously some lack of oxygen. So that's what we will try to see, that how come poop has such an environment to offer. Let's see on the next slide. Now you see, uh, in the mouth, actually, while you eat food, the opportunity for the food to stay is lesser. You eat and it just enters in your body, in your gut, basically. So the amount of food availability is not very good, but it is good enough. But there is oxygen as well, because many a times you breathe from your mouth, there is oxygen around. When you eat food, there is oxygen around. When you breathe from your mouth, there is nasal cavity around as well. So the oxygen availability is pretty good, but good enough. They can try to find places under your teeth, or there is some food remaining because you didn't brush your teeth properly, because you are not very hygienic enough about your oral health. Then they will find spaces in your mouth and start living there. Otherwise, a lot of bacteria are difficult to find as compared to your poop. But how come poop is having so many microbes is still an unanswered question. Let's go forward a little bit below your food pipe. Again, food pipes moves, the food moves very fast. So making house is very difficult because everything is moving around. How can you make a stable house there? Say there's a lot of wind, a lot of water going on around, you will not be able to make a good house in that area. Similarly, microbes find it difficult to make a house in the food pipe because the food is consistently moving. Sometimes the acid from the stomach comes up. There are so many difficulties to make a good house. So in the food pipe as well, you will not find a lot of microbes. Let's go down a bit in the stomach. Now, the stomach is a very, very difficult space. It has there's a scale to measure pH. Basically, it goes below 2. I mean, 7 is neutral. Anything around 2 is very, very acidic, and stomach actually has a lot of acid inside. So finding microbes there is going to be very difficult. Plus, the food also moves out pretty fast there from there. and oxygen is something still good, abundantly available. But the key problem is acid. There's so much acid that microbes, selective microbes who are capable of fighting the acid will be there. Otherwise, there's a very less chance that you will find a lot of microbes in your stomach. I hope till now it is making sense that why you do not have a lot of microbes in your upper compartment of your house, digestive house, basically. So your upper gut has lesser amount of microbes. And as we go down now, the acid starts reducing because the acid was limited to your stomach, and food is also slowly getting, the speed of movement, the peristaltic movement gets slower as you go down, because a lot of enzymes have to come around to digest the food as well, and the simpler food availability becomes better for the microbes. So we'll start seeing more availability of microbes around, or more houses of microbes as you go to the lower gut, to the small intestine, for example. But as you go to the large intestine, where the lot of waste products are also collected, the food availability becomes very high. Because the food availability is high, a lot of microbes grow. Now, because a lot of microbes are growing, they produce certain compounds which your gut, the cells of the gut use to metabolize and use all the oxygen around it. So your lower gut has very, very less oxygen available. Plus, all the microbes are consistently consuming any oxygen, if at all it is there, because of their metabolism as well. In the lower gut, there is a lot of food. In the lower gut, the movement of food is so slow that the microbes can make house very easily. And that's why you find billions of microbes there, a lot of microbes there, as till now, to the young ones. I hope
So
this story
yeah,
makes.
yes, we get it, Sunil. You were just breaking up a little bit, but I think we got the gist. So it's really this balance between no acid, less oxygen, and lots of food. Why microbes
Yeah.
seem to flourish in the large intestine, in the gut. Yes, absolutely. Okay, we can move
Yeah,
on further. Then we'll take a few questions in a bit.
sure. And fact actually here, I wanted to add this as well. We talked about anaerobes. So the opposite ones are the aerobes, those who need oxygen to survive. And where a lot of pathogens actually are aerobic in nature. They try to have those environments where oxygen is there. And anything near your gut wall. So your gut has a pipe, there's a pipe. So in this pipe, this is lumen, this is open area. But anything near the walls has a lot of oxygen because your body cells are there. They are consuming the oxygen as well. There's a lot of oxygen there. So they try to attack that wall. They try to stay there and try to reach the bloodline as well, which is next there. So they try to reach oxygenated areas. So that's why a lot of pathogenic organisms will find to be aerobic in nature. So this is
That's a
some
great
fact
point,
that I
Sunil.
wanted to add. I hope it
A
is
great point,
interesting.
wonderful
Let's move
point.
forward.
So I think, I think great points. I think we'll take some questions here. So one of the questions we asked by Kavish is, how do tapeworm eggs survive acid? How do eggs of tapeworm, the parasite tapeworm, how do they survive the acid in the intestines? So I think it's something
That
to do
is
with the fact that
not
it's a very hard shell. The egg is a very hard shell, and the larvae are really in the egg, deep in the egg. Sorry, Sunil, you're
yeah,
getting
that's
cut off
one
there, but I
rational.
think that is
Yeah.
the reason. They do get stained with the bile if you see them under the microscope, but I think it's a very a hard outer shell. That would be the answer, Kavish. And then Devashri asks, Sunil, that methanogens are also bacteria in our body. Are some of these bacteria, can we classify them as methanogens, methane producing?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
And there are
wonderful.
many who also produce hydrogen sulfide as their byproduct. Those gases also are something that you feel yuck about many a
Yes,
times. Yes.
yes. Okay,
That
all
gas
right.
has
We
that
get,
typical black smoke.
sounds good, Sunil. We can move on. Yeah.
So, how do good microbes in our poop keep us healthy? Now, that is the second question that we wanted to address here. Now, one thing that we talked about was they are the gatekeepers of your gut wall, right? So these gatekeepers, how do they act as gatekeepers? They are so abundant when you are healthy that they do not allow those bad microbes to reach that oxygenated area near your gut wall, basically. So that is one way they try to protect you. The other is they make sure that, like in the very early phases of your life as well, they make sure that your immune system is always alert or knowledgeable about how microbes look like. So microbes have certain typical patterns we call. So there's certain patterns on the cell wall of the microbes, which are very common across various microorganisms. So your immune system stays alert about the attack of microbes, if at all it is going to face when any microbe come near the cell wall, basically, or tries to penetrate the body, or those cells or the wall of the gut. So your immune system stays alert because those microbes, those good microbes, are also producing certain patterns for the immune system to stay alert about it. Then the third is they try to produce certain bullets, magic bullets we call. Like even the antibiotic is called a magic bullet. So they produce certain bullets which are bad for those bad microbes, but they are not bad for them. So they are very clever about it. So they produce those magic bullets or toxins for the bad microbes, making sure that they do not outgrow. So as long as the good microbes are abundantly available, they will try to make sure the bad microbes stay away from your body, basically. And then many of them actually use your food to also produce certain vitamins, those nutrients which are good for your health as well. So they produce vitamins. There are certain types of metabolites called short chain fatty acids, which they produce from a typical type of food that we will just discuss, making sure your body stays healthy. And then they make sure they produce some binding agents to repair any broken wall, basically gut wall. So they make sure that your gut wall, if at all has been broken, they will try to repair or send the signal to your body to actively repair it, basically. So they are doing a lot of stuff silently, ensuring that your gut is always healthy. It is always away from the bad microbes. And once this balance gets disrupted,
Sorry, Sunil, we lost you again. We lost you again.
that's when a lot of microbes start attacking the entire gut wall, basically. And it is very important that you give good food. So eating good food, and by good food we means the food which is accessible to microbes. We call it microbiota accessible carbohydrates as well, so MACs, MAC. So a lot of eating good fibers in your food is important, because that's what they eat to produce those good molecules. Those are the kind of food that they prefer, fiber in your food, so that they can produce those toxins which will attack the bad microbes as well. So a lot is dependent upon how you feed your system and how you feed those good microbes in your body to make sure that your entire balance stays the way it is supposed to be. So that's why on the bottom right, you will see that gut holding some good food examples to you to make sure that you try to have those kind of habits with yourself. Yeah, we'll go forward. And that's what we just discussed. This imbalance, whenever this imbalance happens, many a times, because you are not eating very good food, which can sustain your good microbes in your body, will make sure that those bad microbes start actually attacking the good ones by using their own toxins. The previously those toxins were not a lot because they were not outnumbered. Now the good microbes are outnumbered and the bad ones are actually attacking them in a similar way to take the same place. So it's a competition between them now. Now they are trying to outcompete and create a dysbiosis. So dysbiosis is a state of imbalance in your gut or in your system, basically, when bad microbes take over and good microbes are now outnumbered by them, and some disease or disorder starts happening. And this dysbiosis we study a lot, basically. Yes. So now in the next slide, there is something which you might not have probably thought about, but it's a fact that when you keep your microbes healthy or happy, by giving them good food like fibers, they produce certain molecules which are actually very good for your brain as well. It starts feeling happy and it sends happy signals in your entire body. You sleep well, you always stay less stressed because those microbes are producing some short chain fatty acids that I called because of the good food that you had, like fibers, and they send those signals to your brain, which reaches your brain indirectly and produces very happy signals. So this we call, and similarly bad things can also happen, by the way. So this connection between your gut with your brain via your microbes is called a gut brain axis, or the gut brain connection, basically. Okay, so suggestion or recommendation, like your parents may say eat good, but there is a meaning behind it, because it not only keeps your body in generally healthy, but also your good friends inside your body, the microbes, also stay healthy when you eat good or prefer good food as opposed to fast food. But I'll give you two choices going forward, and let's say what you choose. Let's see what you choose next.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Sunil. Okay. So everyone has to answer this
So
question in the chat window.
yes. So what would you choose? On the right, all of this is free for you.
Okay,
What
free
would you
food. We are
choose?
saying both are free food. And if you want to
Yes.
keep your gut happy, your microbes happy, and your brain happy, would you choose the chips, the soda, the brown bag, packaged hamburger, cupcake, pizza, donut, hot dog? Or would you choose real juice, meat, vegetables, fresh fruits that looks like salmon or fish, cheese, bread, milk? So look at that, Sunil, what they've done to us. They have said both. Like, I think this is like a sazish that all the young minds have made on Talk to Scientists. So majority have started saying both. And then a few, Kavisha said right. Kavisha said right. Bhavika said both, and some have said left. Okay. So I think what we are trying to allude to is we should be choosing the left, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Please choose the left one, because if you eat most of the time the left one, you can probably relish the right one as well.
Once in a
Quite a
while.
number of times.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, Kavish says he eats too
So
much left. So he's like too much into vegetables and fruits and healthy cheese and
yes.
bread. Okay. So
Yeah.
so this is really important for them because they must be hearing so much at home, eat healthy, etc. This is really important. Yeah. Okay.
There
We'll move
is a
on.
reason.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And the right side of the screen actually has those kind of foods which are actually very, very less on fibers, very, very less on proteins, a lot of fat, a lot of carbohydrates, which are not fibers. And all of this is not good for your body. They are good for the bad microbes, actually. They are good because they actually lower the lack of oxygen in your gut. So it increases, in some way, the lower gut gets more oxygen because of the lack of fibers. When you are feeding fibers to your microbes, they produce short chain fatty acids. It may be a metabolic name or difficult jargon for you, but they produce some molecules by eating fibers, which those molecules are eaten by your gut cells. We call it colonocytes. So they eat those molecules to lower the oxygen around the cells. So
Sure.
that oxygen gets lowered because the microbes are eating fibers as well. So when the
Sounds good.
oxygen gets lowered, good microbes increase a lot. So this balance is because of a lot of your dietary habits as well. So eat good,
Sounds good.
not
Okay.
just,
Yes, yes, sir.
yeah, yes.
Yes. Sorry, Sunil. We'll just move on for want of time. That's all. Yeah.
And on the next slide, I just want to, okay, yeah, that's I hope you had fun. That's
Sorry, there was a
the
slide in the middle. There was a slide,
yes,
huh?
yes. So I thought it just got omitted, but yes. So this is somebody I wanted to introduce to you. You have a lot of teddy bears, lot of soft toys in your home. This is somebody who should also be a toy, probably sometime in the future, that children should have in their houses. It's bifidobacterium, we call. So you can buy, cutely you can call it bifido. So that's what I called it when I first read about it. Oh, it is Bifido. Why it is important or why it is a good friend of yours. First of all, you got it from your mother. Thank your mother, basically. Uh, you got it from your mother. She gave you a good friend as soon as you came to this world, and this bifidobacterium made sure that your immune system for the first time starts getting well prepared to fight the bad microbes if they come into your body. This bifidobacterium digested along with your capability. It also digested the food that you ate in the beginning of your life, making sure that you are getting proper nutrition. This bifidobacterium produce those molecules which keep your brain happy, your gut well prepared. So this is the very one of the very first friends in your gut. So bifidobacterium is a good friend, and you should be introduced
Yes.
to you. So
And of
say
the
hi to
many things
Bifido.
that they should be
It's
thanking
also
their
saying
mothers for, it should also be for bifidobacterium. It can go in the list. So let's everyone, those who have
yes,
their videos on, can we do a bifidobacterium? And Shreya, you can
Bifido.
take a bifido. Shreya, you can take a screenshot if this is showing. Bifido. Shreya, you got it? Yes. Some of them are
And
putting,
thanks to our mothers.
and thanks to our mothers. That I totally agree. Hi. Shreya, got it?
I am not able to take a screenshot, so maybe.
Okay. So Shreya, you put your hand. I will take a screenshot. I can see. Yes, Devshri, I see you. Jia, I see you. I see Kavish, Sunil, and Shreya. Got it. Thank you. So yeah, we have to. So tonight's dinner table conversation can be thank you, mom, for Bifido. Okay, Sunil, Shreya, let's move quickly into the questions because I want to take two of Jia's questions as they are doing the polls. So let's do the first post-session poll, everybody, the Google form. If you can quickly start filling it out, that'll be great. In the meantime, Shreya, while you're doing that, Shreya and Sunil, I'll take Jia's question, which she says, how can we grow or produce good microbes in our gut? That's a great question, Jia. Great question. How can we produce good microbes? So how do we grow up, increase the number of good microbes in our gut?
Yeah, so as we just discussed a lot of it, a lot is dependent upon eating good fibers in your diet, having good diet, basically avoiding a lot of fat in your diet, keeping a good balance of fibers and proteins and carbs in your body, basically.
So it's
When
really
you
food.
prefer good food, it's a lot of it is about food, the kind of food that you eat, because as I said, those fibers create that good food preference for the microbes, and they maintain that anaerobic environment or less oxygen environment in your lower gut, further increasing the chances of the growth of good microbes, basically.
Good microbes. Okay, so it's really about eating more of those foods on the left and less of the foods on the right. Wow. Okay,
So
young people.
use this branch of science in.
So, it's a long story, but I have found a lot of love with the society that is in my body, basically. So there are so many little creatures living in my body, and I can't just stay fascinated. I can't remain without being fascinated. So I just am actually trying to just find those answers, that how they are talking to each other, how they are fighting with each other, in that fight, how they are trying to make sure our body stays healthy. So this branch actually excites me a lot, and this is not something I planned from the beginning itself. This is something, the love I have found in the later phases of my career, actually. So I started with culturing the plants in my lab, plant tissue culture, then started doing a lot of computational biology, just looking at DNA sequences in the computers, then thought about why not actually do it on the field and try to look into the bacteria by doing experiments in the labs. And that's how there's an evolution. Everybody eventually finds their perfect story at some point, but through some effort. Yes, so it took me some time to find out what's my love, and I love a lot about how the society in my body lives, basically.